Well. What's happening, everyone? Welcome on into Coffee with Brodes. It is Wednesday. It's hump day, which means there's a hump day giveaway that will be happening very shortly as soon as Coffee with Brodes is over, and you are not going to want to miss it. So we had a lot of action last night. We had all three teams in play. The Flyers are now in sixth place behind the New York Rangers. Ew. 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 That's gross. That's gross. You had the Philadelphia Phillies lose their first game of the season. They were somewhat due. They were somewhat due. And you have an opportunity with Aaron Nola on the bump to win the series. And then the 76ers, Joel Embiid just dominated, put it on display. Easy, not even close, not even competitive. Easy victory. That's because, one, the 76ers are a good team. And two, the Boston Celtics suck. The Boston Celtics are not a good team at all. So that's where we begin. That is what we have. We have a 4 o'clock afternoon game for the Philadelphia Phillies today. So leading off with Brodes will be at 3 o'clock. Just a heads up for everybody. Before we kick things off, you know how we do it here. We got to go for the old cheers. So cheers, everyone. Get your coffee. Have your coffee ready. I'm going my Timmy Hortons. Got to go Timmy Ho-Hos. Nice and black. It's the way I love it. I can see the steam. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let it hit my nose. Let me hit my nose. Oh, it's beautiful. All right, cheers, everyone. Enjoy the sip with me here. Thank you, God, for making coffee. All right, let's start here. Because this couldn't be any more true. This couldn't be any more legit of a statement. Roman Quinn sucks. Roman Quinn is bad. We have to stop with this Roman Quinn experience. What was it, the eighth inning? Where's my notes from last night? I think it was the eighth inning. That's when Brad Miller struck out. He was all pissed off. It was actually a really nice pitch from Trevor May to put it on that corner like that, the inside low corner to pin him and make him a little uncomfortable. That was his fourth strikeout of the game. Brad Miller did not do good. Where are we here? We got so many damn games yesterday. I don't know which one's which. Sixers breeze by Boston. Phillies lose 8-4. I'm pretty positive it was the eighth inning. It was. Brad Miller curses out ump. Quinn, LMFAO. That's my notes. In case you were wondering, how does Brodes take his notes? Brad Miller curses out ump. Quinn, LMFAO. You look right down, you know exactly what's going on. There's no one on planet Earth that possibly thought that Roman Quinn was going to do anything in that moment other than strike out. He is so garbage. It's unbelievable. And Adam Hazley ended up getting 2 hits. He had a double, then he had a hit later on in the game. Adam Hazley is not a world beater by any means, but he is way better than anything Roman Quinn can ever give you. There's no reason. Zero, zippo, none, nada. Zero reasons to have Roman Quinn ever actually play the game of baseball in the lineup. He is strictly, and I mean strictly, a pinch runner. That's all he can be used for, in my opinion. That is it. Roman Quinn is bad. Roman Quinn is bad. Bad, 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 bad. Ha ha. This is good. Joel Embiid put on a spanking last night. You're damn right he did. That step back he's taking. My man is a 7-foot center, and he's stepping back and dribbling the basketball. You can't stop that. The Celtics showed, look, I've said this before. I think that there's a lot of people out there, because we're used to going up against the Celtics and maybe having some painful moments and all, that we associate that logo and that jersey with phenomenal basketball, and that's not the case. They are a team that is out of whack. They are a team that is not properly built structurally as well. That's also a way to factor in that they're not good, but they are not all around a good team, and they don't have a center or anyone. They went to Taco Fall nice and early. Think about going to Taco Fall that early in a matchup. You don't have any options. They're just not a good team. They're under 500. Remember when the Sixers were above 500 last year and you still sense that there was something wrong? That's exactly what's going on with the Celtics. There is something going wrong. Brandon, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Thank you so much. Always look forward to coffee with Brodes. Me too, because I love coffee so damn much. Been stressed as hell lately. Oh, man, you definitely take a couple deep breaths. Take a couple sips of coffee, although I know that gets people wired up more than it does relaxed. But for me, it makes me relaxed. Just take a couple deep breaths. No reason to get too stressed. Who do you think would be the ideal first-round matchup? It doesn't matter. Honestly, it does not matter. Now, when we look at the NBA standings, I know that there's a bunch of teams that are from 4 to 10 that are barely separated. So the Hawks are in fourth place at 27 and 24, pulling away with it a little bit. And realistically, if I'm looking at this, the Pacers are in ninth with 22 and 27. The Celtics are 25 and 26 in the eighth seed. Um, it's funny. It's like the Heat, the Knicks, the Celtics. Those are the three teams. The Knicks are a pesky bunch. See, the difference is if you play a team like the Knicks, look, the Sixers could destroy all of these teams. Let me be clear. The Sixers can destroy all of these teams. But there is a difference, and here's why. The New York Knicks, they never really had the thought process of, we're going to dominate the East, we're going to win the East, we're going to be at the top of the East, and we're going to take a legit shot at things. The Boston Celtics did have that, and the fact that they're in eighth place with an under 500 record, I think their psyche is just screwed up. As if, like, the Knicks will play hard, they'll compete hard, they'll play for Tom Thibodeau. The Sixers would wax them. But they will play harder. They will have more energy because they feel better about their season. Hey, look, we're in the playoffs. We fight hard. The Celtics as an eighth seed or the seventh seed would be like, God damn, what are we doing? We suck this year. We were supposed to be at the top of the league. So it would be an even easier series, I think, for the Sixers. I really do believe that. So if you ask me what I want to see, I would like to see Sixers, Celtics. I wouldn't mind seeing Sixers, Hornets, because the Hornets stink as well. And without LaMelo Ball, that also helps, and there's not much separation, 25 and 26 compared to 25 and 24. But to answer your question, Brandon, I really don't care because I think the Sixers team is better than any of these squads outside of the top three in the Eastern Conference. So, look, in terms of the stress, just, make sure you take a couple deep breaths and all, and everything will be all right. I promise you that. Thank you so much for the $5, man. Thank you so much. Oh, Vince Velasquez. Put Vince Velasquez back in outfield. No, I don't want to see him anywhere. What, are you trying to say that you'd rather have, even though he played left field, but he was exciting and throwing balls to the plate there, would you rather have Vince Velasquez in center field? I guess the question is very valid. I guess if you're looking at this logically, that is a logical way to kind of approach this. Would you rather have Vinny V out in center field, even though he played left, the center field position over Roby Quinn? Oh, oh, it just hits fucking right. It really does. It just hits right. You easily want to play the Hornets first round. I don't care. Like, I'm not afraid of the Celtics. I'm not afraid of the Knicks. I'm not afraid of I am literally not afraid of any of these teams. That's how highly I think of this Sixers team. I did not like the comments made about George Hill. I think they're trying to sugarcoat some things, and maybe not sugarcoat it because they are letting you know, hey, it might be a little bit longer than we expected, or we're going to wait until the surgery is fully 100% done and he'll be all right and he's starting to dribble the basketball, whatever. I do think that this George Hill thing, though, is starting to get a little bit more interesting, and we got to keep our eyes on it a tad more because they're starting to backtrack. I sense that they're starting to backtrack a bit. Well, we thought he would be here, and we expect him to play 10 games here. But as it continues to go, now it's taking, we don't know, and this and that. So I do think that there's a George Hill factor here that we should look into. Give Vinny V another chance. Dominic, really? Don't do this to me. You're telling me what? No, 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 no. 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 No! Followed by this fantastic comment. Vince sucks. He should never pitch for us again. Awful. His performance was abysmal last night. Elijah, that is the right way to look at things, my friend. That is amazing. You are correct. All right. I am sick and tired of it. The fact that $4 million went to Vince Velasquez, it makes me sick. It really does. That sixth inning, I mean, it's just crazy that you can have the sixth inning that you have and then completely fall apart to this wild level of inconsistency. You're walking batters, 4 walks. You just put on display this amazing sequence of fastball, strikeout, fastball, fooling Pete Alonso with a meatball, right? Pete Alonso standing there like, did I really just let that one get by me? That's a problem. Then he gets a nasty curve. Whoa, what's going on the left part of the plate? And he walks off the field with all this confidence and a little bit of a swag to him. And he comes out the next inning and does that. I really do mean this when I said I questioned if they should have just pulled him right then and there and said, good work, and let him just build off of that. Thank you, Vince Velasquez, and go to your next bullpen option. But the way they view him is a longer relief guy. I'm done with any of that nonsense with Vince Velasquez. But what he did in the sixth inning was actually beautiful. It was nice. But he can't do multiple innings. Haven't we learned that over the last 36 years of Vince Velasquez? He can't do multiple innings? $5 coming in here from Logan Wright saying, I think Dominic has some issues. I respect everybody who comes in here and has their own opinion. You are entitled to your own opinion. If you think Vince Velasquez deserves that next chance again and deserves to get on the mound again, you are entitled to that. So I'm not going to go along and say that he's got some issues, but it is pretty wild. And I don't think that there's a history or a person in history that would ever really feel that way. I mean, there's just no logical way. You could try to apply logic here, and every time it will tell you stop. Stop letting him actually utilize his legs to walk onto that mound and then put his foot on that rubber surface and then push off and actually throw a baseball towards the catcher's mitt while there's a hitter in the dish when he's in the batter's box. That sequence that I just laid out of Vince Velasquez, when you logically try to apply, a brain to this, you should never see it again. You should never, unless it's softball. Softball down at the local park. For real. Thank you, Logan. Thank you. Giroux with a $2 donation. I'm done with the Flyers last night. I know. And I think we all say that. I'm not going to watch this team anymore. I'm done with this team. And what do? When they play the Islanders, our asses is on the couch watching. When they play the Boston Bruins at 2 o'clock next Saturday, or this Saturday, I should say, we're all watching. It is getting to that point of almost no return, that's for sure, but there's still probably a couple more losses before it's in like a full effect. I would imagine. Because technically, statistically, they're not out of it, but they are out of it. So the way I see it is, if they lose 2 more games, then it's probably a full mode of we're done with this. But for right now, we say we're done. We're not done. We're still going to watch. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see how it all plays out. Even though I can give you the rundown. If you want to know what's going to happen against the Islanders, here's my guess, and here's my breakdown. I could probably do the post-game podcast right now for that game on Thursday against the Islanders. Turnovers in the slot. Shane Goss is paired with a couple of turnovers, but might have a nice clap bomb on net on a power play. They won't score on that power play, though, because they stink and they don't know how to move the puck around. And here's one thing about the Flyers' power play. You can bitch and you can complain about all these issues, right? Well, Michelle Therrien and the coaching staff with the power play and all. At some point, when you have talented players out there, you should know what to do. You should figure it out. You are 5-on-4. When you have guys out there, Shane Gostisbehere, Ivan Provorov, Claude Giroux, JVR, well, I can't believe they have Nolan Patrick out there, but Nolan Patrick, Sean Couturier, Jacob Voracek. When you have those players out there, You don't need to be told what to do. You are in the NHL. You are all talented, and you've all played the power play before, and you've all played the power play before together. There's no way in hell you can improv and actually come up with a good sequence. You have enough drilled in your brain. Everyone can run an umbrella. Everyone can run an overload. Every one of these skilled players can do. If you had Marchand, Pasternak, and Bergeron, and nobody told them what to do, and you said, here, you get 5 guys, they get 4 guys, make something happen. What do you think is going to happen? The puck is going to be in the back of your net. So I don't care about Michel Therrien and this coaching staff and what they try and draw up on the power play. Improv. I mean, it's not that hard to move the puck around when you have one more guy than the other team and you can set up in the offensive zone. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Thank you so much, Giroux, for the $2. Dominic comes back in. Vinny is going to be better than Nola in a few years. All right, now we're getting into troll territory, right? I mean, I don't think you're going to get the same reaction out of me when we get to that level. That's for sure. Logan chimes in with $2 here. The Union is in the Champions League tonight. I have no clue what's going on with the Philadelphia Union. Is there a big game tonight, or am I just getting trolled? Because I know what the Champions League is, and obviously that's not that, but I don't know what you're mentioning before that. So let's say Union. Or maybe I can go to their Twitter page. I'm sure there'd be something up on there about their Twitter. I'd imagine so, right? Here we go. Union Soccer. I don't follow the Union. Well, I got the Pacific Men's Soccer Team. That's what you get when you type in Union. Union Soccer. Nope, Summit Soccer. Dawson School Athletics. Man, you don't get anything related to the Union when you type in the Union. Thank you so much, Logan, for the $2. Where are we here? I was a fan of Quinn. I'm tired of him not being a good hitter. Reminds me of with all due respect, Ethan, how will you ever quote a fan of Roman Quinn? Roman Quinn has always been this. This has always been Roman Quinn. So it's not like there was a time when he wasn't pathetic. Roman Quinn has always been pathetic. And that's the problem. He's had speed. People get so fascinated with the fact that he can move his legs. Well, guess what? If all he's doing is moving his legs back to the dugout after a big swing and a miss and a huge, huge cut that isn't even close to touching the baseball, that's the only time he uses his legs is to get back to the dugout. That's terrible. He's hitting 0 right now in his 8 at-bats. That's a whomping stat line. Man, his stat line is just egregious. Obviously, it's only 8 at-bats. It's just funny as hell to look at. 213, 213. That was his 2 batting averages in the last 2 seasons with a 261 OBP. For a guy that has a lot of speed, he's not getting on the bases to utilize it. Not at all. Aaron Altair. No, now we're bringing up Aaron Altair. This is what we've been. This is where we are. This is what we are discussing today on Coffee with Brodes, bringing back Aaron Altair. No. Why? No. Why do you do this to me? Why? Please, no. We got an $8 Australian donation here, it looks like. I don't want to mispronounce your name, so I'm trying my best. Jaharis. Thank you so much. Hey, bro, huge Sixers fan from Australia. Just wanted to say, big fan of your videos. I'm always watching them on my way to work. Keep it up, legend. Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you. I feel I say I appreciate it so much to everyone, but I do. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. I love hearing from people that are not in the Philadelphia, New Jersey area. I love hearing from those people as well, of course. But the fact that Australia and the UK and all that, it blows my mind. It really does. So it's crazy. But thank you, Jaharis. I hate saying that because I don't know which one it is. The 76ers, I mean, with last night's performance, does that change how you feel about them? Are you still in the same boat? Are you in the same spot as me? Because for me, last night, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't shocked. I figured that they would steamroll a team that has no confidence, and they would steamroll a team that had no options. You weren't even close to having an option. You can throw double teams. You can try whatever you want to do. but matchup-wise, you were going to get exposed. And that was sort of inevitable. That was pretty clear before the first tip even occurred that the Celtics had no business being involved at all with a 48-minute effort. So I'm not shocked. It's kind of what I expected it to be. I think that there are some Sixers fans out there that still are afraid of the Celtics because they think the Celtics are just going to magically turn it on. And I'll put it to you this way. If you are one of those Sixers fans that are still afraid of the Celtics and still look at them a certain way, think about how you felt last year with this Sixers team, where they were 29-2 at home, whatever their record was before the bubble. They had an over 500 record, but you knew something was off. You knew something wasn't good. You knew that the flow of the team was a nightmare scenario, if you will, and they had no good structure, and you didn't believe in them. So apply that same logic to this Celtics team. There's no reason why you should believe in them because they're even worse. Even worse. They're steps back from what you saw last year with the Sixers. So just throwing that into perspective. Thank you so much for the $8 donation. Brandon Workman or Vince Velasquez? Definitely Vince Velasquez. Definitely Vince Velasquez. Although, it's funny, Megan, who used to follow I always have a hard time with her last name, but she used to cover the Phillies for The Athletic. Now she covers the Chicago Cubs, and I still follow her on my feed. And she was talking about Jake Arrieta's first outing, and she also brought up Brandon Workman's first outing. Of course, Jake Arrieta actually had a nice day at the office for his first game back with the Chicago Cubs. But it looks like so far Brandon Workman has 1 2/3 innings pitched, only allowed 1 hit and walked 2, struck out 2. So that's where he is right now. That is your Brandon Workman of the Chicago Cubs. 1 2/3, only allowed 1 hit, walked 2 with 2 strikeouts. Now I want to go to Jake Arrieta because you figured that Jake Arrieta was going to leave here and then there would be some sort of a decent play because that's just kind of what happens. Jake Arrieta in his 1 start so far, he went 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts. So that's basically a nice day at the office there for Jake Arrieta. 6 innings, 1 hit, 5 Ks. We would be taking that any day of the week if he was in your 4 or 5 spot. So it's only 1 start. Who knows? He could break down and have his injuries, and he always tweaked something. There was always something that was bothering him, and it's a shame because I was all in for that signing, and I'm looking at his stats too right now from when he was here in Philadelphia for his 3 seasons. You just never got what you were looking for. 4.64 ERA, 5.08 ERA. Ugh. The first year was a sub-4. If you want to be excited about that, it was a sub-4 ERA the first year of Jake Arrieta here. I went to his first start as a Philly. I remember I was pumped up. It was a little chilly. I had the jacket on. I was a little bit like ready to run through a brick wall type atmosphere. And the Jake Arrieta experience just didn't live up to the hype. Brodes, do you ever play any video games? So, yes, of course I do. I go through spurts, and right now I'm waiting for that next game. I've always been a Call of Duty guy, though, so I still play Call of Duty, but I'm an old school guy. None of this Warzone garbage that the young ones are in these days. Search and destroy, domination, that style of Call of Duty. I still play that. MLB The Show I am going to get for this February 16th date for when you pre-order it. I'm going to do that, and hopefully we're going to slide on over to Twitch and do some live streams playing some MLB The Show. So that is on the table as the game comes out here in 11 days or so, 9 days it is. So I'm pretty excited. I haven't played MLB The Show because I'm an Xbox guy. So it is a big transition for me to play a whole different game, but I'm really looking forward to it. Probably do a franchise mode with the Phillies and be Dave Dombrowski, make some trades, trade Roman Quinn, trade Vince Velasquez, maybe trade Mickey Moniak, do all that good stuff. So maybe start Andrew Knapp, put JT Realmuto on the bench. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a franchise mode with MLB The Show. So that's definitely going to be on the table for sure. If I played Shelfie, he'd probably kick my ass. Yazir Evans with a $5 donation. Thoughts on Maxey recently? I thought we had something special at the beginning of the season. Well, this is when we do have something special in Tyrese Maxey. The problem is no one steps into the NBA when you're on an NBA championship-ready team as a 19-year-old kid and you just walk into the starting rotation and you walk into a guy that's just going to dominate. That's not how this works. When you are in a ready mode now, a ready-to-win-now mode, you don't have a 19-year-old to climb in and push aside Ben Simmons, Danny Green, the veteran professional, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris. Where is he going to play? He's not ready. Tyrese Maxey is going to be a nice player. It takes time. It's going to take a few years. It won't happen overnight. Tyrese Maxey is a very nice, young, intriguing player. But we do have something nice. Why would your expectations change on Tyrese Maxey? Because maybe he's not getting a lot of playing time. The reason why he's not getting a lot of playing time, there's a reason why you go out and acquire a George Hill. There's a reason why you go out and you get one of these older players that you can put the ball in his hands. Why? Because you can rely on him in crucial moments late down the stretch in a 3-point game. You really think Tyrese Maxey is going to be able to be that guy with 3 minutes to go in a 4-point game to help run this offense when Ben Simmons is a huge liability in the half-court set? No, definitely not. So my thing with Tyrese is, and it's pretty clear, when you're a young kid, there's a difference between playing on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's say you're Colin Sexton, right? Go play. Go play. Just learn on the job. Go through the learning curves. Go through the painful moments. Turn the ball over 7 times. And then the next night, do it once, right? Turn it over 7, 8 times because you're going up against a lethal player on the other side that can defend. And then the next night, all right, don't do it again and learn from that. All those mistakes. You have the ability to do that if you're on a team like the Cavs, if you're on the team like the Washington Wizards, if you're on some of these bad teams. When you got to win, and you got to win now, and when you have the team that is built the way that it is right now, Tyrese Maxey's role is not going to be big, but it doesn't mean it won't be down the road. It doesn't mean it won't be down the line, and maybe they use him as trade bait. When you're in win now mode, you don't need the 19-year-old growing pain type of player. You can maybe trade him and package him up for players that you can rock with now. So you do have something special and nice in Tyrese Maxey. It's just not ready yet for him. That's all. And not everyone is. Not everyone has that. Hey, it's time. He's got the skill set. You can see it. If you just look at pure skill set, basketball IQ standpoint, athleticism, he could fly to the rack. He could fly to the rim. He's got confidence in his game. He's not afraid of these bigger athletes. Sometimes people get overwhelmed with size and this and that. And there's moments where he does. But ultimately, Tyrese can ball. And you know it. It's just not time for him right now. That's all. Thank you so much for the $5 donation, though. I really am appreciative of it. Oh, we got Paul Pierce. We going back to Paul Pierce? Did something happen here? Did something happen here with the Paul Pierce? Or no? When Paul Pierce starts going hot on the chat. Oh, here we go. Here we go. One of the GOATs in the house. Love it. Maxey's a good young player, but I agree. 9-man rotation in the playoffs can't have that. I'm still wondering who the 9th guy is, Thibault or Furkan, or your boy Furkan. I think they go back and forth situational. So I agree with you. Philly Mike, man, thank you so much. Beauty. Make sure you check out his work. He does a phenomenal job breaking down all things Philly sports as well. So here's the thing. I don't even know if you go 9. Do you go 9? You might, in theory, have 9. But I don't know if you go 9, if that makes sense. I think more 8. So we know the starting 5. We know it's going to be Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. You're going to have Dwight Howard, and you're going to have George Hill. So now, to me, you're not going to have enough minutes. It's not because this guy can't play, that guy can't play. There's not enough minutes to go around. Ben's going to give you 40. Joel's going to give you 36, 37. Tobias is going to give you high 30s. Like, you're going to have that type of motive for all these starters. There's not that many minutes to go around. So if I'm giving you George Hill and Dwight off the bench to give you now 7 guys, Matisse Thybulle is probably going to be that other player. And what does that mean for Shake Milton? I think George Hill is going to take over Shake Milton. I think eventually Shake Milton will be very, 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 very limited, if not, maybe not even in the rotation at times. Because he's been very inefficient. There's been very up and down. We liked when he gives you those good games, but we got to be realistic with ourselves. Shake Milton has been underwhelming this year and hasn't been able to turn it around and get back into a groove. So I think it's got to be George Hill, Dwight Howard, Matisse Thybulle. I think that's your 8-man rotation. And then as Philly might allude to, Furkan, it would depend if you need spacing, if you need some help here and there. But if you're going 9, I don't even know if you go 9. I don't even know if I want to go 9. I want to go 8. I want to go 8. I want to keep it structured. I want to go 8. That's my personal opinion on it. That's where I'm at, though. That is where I'm at. Joel Embiid better than Jokic. The only thing with that is Joel Embiid is amazing. I just think they're both just as good. I feel like if you say Embiid is better than Jokic, Jokic is amazing. Yeah, if we watched Jokic the same way we watched Joel Embiid, we would be saying the same thing about Jokic. The Nuggets fans say the same thing about Jokic as we say about Embiid. And I think both are, honestly, both are elite and almost, they're different style of players. They play the way differently. But I can't separate the two. I think they both dominate the game the same exact way. They just do it in different ways. I know that's not the probably the popular opinion here in the Philadelphia area, but I would give the advantage MVP race if Embiid didn't get hurt to Joel Embiid. I'm not saying that, but Jokic averages 26, 11, and 9. 26, 11, and 9 as a center. 9 assists. My man facilitates the entire game. So while he might not have the same scoring as Joel Embiid does every single night, he still facilitates at an unbelievable level. Joel averages 30, 11, and 3. Jokic gives you 26, 11, and 9. It's crazy. Well, 8.6 to be fair. But his career, to look at it from the career, it's up big time. It's almost up three assists per game. Nuts. I love both. I love both is my point. Where are we here? Game on the line. Nick Pivetta or Vinny V to hold a 1-run lead. Oh, no. No. Oh, this is such a bad question. Why do you do this to me? Well, here, can I get some context? Is this Vinny V in his first inning, or is this Vinny V going back out for the second inning? Where are we in the game? Is this like, hey, Vinny, I'm bringing you in to close? Or is this, hey, Vinny, you just pitched the 8th inning. We're going to throw you back out for the 9th for some random reason because this hypothetical sucks and you're trying to make me blow out my brain. So which one is it? Because there's a big difference. If it's the first inning of Vinny V, sign me up for Vinny. If it's the 3rd or 2nd inning of Vinny V, I'll probably go with Nick Pivetta. And I really don't want to say that. That's an overrated stat line. Joel doesn't need to pass because he has people do it for him. I mean, that now you're just devaluing Jokic. Oh, well, Jokic's assist doesn't matter because why? You know, like the way you put that is almost like, whoa, it's overrated. His assists are just overrated. It doesn't matter about Jokic's assists. Well, yeah, it does. I mean, come on. Now you're talking about a center that's almost averaging 9 assists. To put it in perspective, all right, let's put it in perspective. We all know how phenomenal Ben Simmons is at facilitating. And we talk about, well, he's so great at facilitating, right? He's averaging almost 1.4 more assists per game than Ben Simmons on top of scoring at the rate that he's scoring. So we love Ben. And Ben is so good at facilitating. And he is. He's a good facilitator. Jokic averages 1.4 more assists per game than Ben. And Ben is one of the best facilitators in the NBA. So let that sink in. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy to think about what Jokic is doing. We got a $5 donation coming in here. From all the NBA teams, which team have a better defensive unit to stop the Nets, and who would guard who? Love your Allen comment, by the way. What was my Allen comment? Why do I already forget my Allen comment? I'm trying to think now. Now there's some things going on in my brain. I have no clue. Loved your Allen comment. Now I want you to comment back because I'm totally just out of whack and I got nothing. I mean, my brain can't even register at all what we're referencing here. But anyway, I'll get to your who has the better defensive unit to stop the Nets? I mean, the Sixers have the best, and I don't think it's even close. I don't think it's even a debate on if there's even a team in the same category as the Sixers when it comes to defense. He meant Allen comment about Simmons. I got nothing. Oh, Alien. Oh, Alien. Am I reading that right? Is that on me or is that a typo? Alien. Yeah, the alien thing's funny. It does say alien. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so disgusted in myself. I am just so upset with myself. To be fair, I have a monitor that's in front of me. I'd say, well, yay away in front of the camera so I can look down at the comments as I'm looking here, like kind of right in below the camera and all. And from this angle, it looks like Allen, not Alien. The Alien thing, well, yeah, I'm with you. The Alien thing was good. All right. So I don't think there's anyone even close to the Brooklyn Nets. Who would defend who? I would put Ben Simmons on Kevin Durant. I would put Danny Green on James Harden to start. If things don't go right, if things get ugly, if he gets abused over and over again or whatever, fine. I've seen some success out of Danny Green on James Harden when Kevin Durant wasn't on the floor, so that changes things for sure. But I'll go with Danny Green on James Harden to start. And then, unfortunately, you would have Kyrie on Seth Curry to start. This is how I would start it. Then if things get ugly, if things get a little wonky, I would then change and put Matisse Thybulle on some players. Like, that's where I would bring Matisse Thybulle into the mix. But, George Hill. Excuse me. George Hill. I forgot all about George Hill. You have him as an option as well to bring you that defensive veteran experience, too, that you could throw on a Kyrie Irving. But if I'm thinking about the starting rotation would be, if it is what we think it's going to be, and Ben, Danny, and Seth, it's going to have to be something. Unless, look, maybe you throw the way Tobias. Here's the thing, too. Look, now my head's spinning. That's my initial thought. The way Tobias has been playing, I'm not saying Tobias Harris can lock down a Kevin Durant. But if you can get him to be serviceable against a KD, and then you can put Ben Simmons on James Harden, maybe that changes things. And then you can get a little creative with some of the other pieces. Maybe you throw Joel Embiid. We've seen Joel Embiid guard some really talented players as well. And maybe you can push him outside a bit as well. Like, you got some options, and you have some damn good options too. I think you're going to see a whole bunch of versatility. You're going to throw different looks at them to make them feel uncomfortable, because if KD has the ball and thinks, hey, Ben's going to be, Jesus, here's a 7 foot, damn, here's a 7 foot Joel Embiid, or here's Tobias Harris. KD's going to have an advantage on any matchup you put on him. It's Kevin Durant. All right, it's KD. But Tobias has picked up his game defensively. Is there a way that you can utilize that in this matchup more than you thought you probably could before the season started? My answer is yes. So I think you got a lot of options. I just mentioned so many. You got Ben on KD. You can maybe work with Tobias Harris. You got Joel Embiid. You got Matisse Thybulle. You got George Hill. You got Danny Green. I think you just have a lot of different weapons that you'd be able to utilize. I'm actually starting to get pretty damn pumped up about it now that I'm thinking about it. What you can do and how you can throw them off. Thank you so much for the $5. Alien. He said alien. Urban says, I got a question. What player attempted the most three-pointers in his career without making one? I have no idea. Do you have the answer? I hope you're not just throwing something at me without actually having the answer involved. I mean, if you're going to throw something out here like this, I think we, you know. We should have the answer. Danny on Harden, Tobias on Kyrie, and Ben on KD. Seth on Joe Harris. Tobias on Kyrie. I mean, I think Kyrie would dance around them. I mean, you got a quick little guard on Tobias Harris. I think that's look. I like Tobias Harris and what he's been able to provide for you defensively, but against Kyrie Irving, I think Kyrie Irving's going to win that. Yeah, Dominic. The outrageous comments. I'm just not even giving them the time of day. So. Tobias on KD, Ben on Harden, Danny on Kyrie. Now, I think you can do that. I think that's better than the other option. Danny on Kyrie, I'm okay with that. I want to see Ben on KD for sure. That's something that I think we all initially put ourselves in there. But you said who's never made a three. Ben Simmons has made a three. Not to get too sidetracked here, but wasn't your thing? I got a question. What player attempted the most three-pointers in his career without making one? He's made one. Unless you mean it took him X amount to make one. But it's not like he had that many three-point attempts. So he wasn't taking threes. And when he did, he finally made one. So, I mean, it's not like he took that many threes. It just took him forever to take a three. But he didn't take that many threes before actually making one. But I thought you meant who in the NBA has taken a X amount of threes and never made one at all. It's a big difference. I think we're having a little bit of confusion here on what you're actually stating. So, Random Gamer says, I would have Matisse as the sixth man. You can't have Matisse as the sixth man. You got to have George Hill. You got to have some sort of scoring. But unless, like, the sixth man and all, George Hill, unless he becomes your starting rotation guy, and then someone like Seth Curry moves to the bench. But, yes, the defense is going to be something, but you still need to have offense as well. So you can't just think of it as, hey, we can play Matisse Thybulle for X amount of minutes, because your sixth man is still going to get a decent amount of time in the game when it comes to minutes. And you can't, I don't think you can go that heavy, that strong with a guy who can't give you much scoring. So you're going to have to be creative, and there are ways to get creative. I am fascinated with the options that they have, though. The more I sit here and process it, I think they got more options than I even thought they did, knowing that they had an insane amount of options. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. I don't think Korkmaz will see minutes in the playoffs. I hope you're right, my friend. I hope you're right. I think this is what it starts out. I think you end up getting a situation where you see him for a couple minutes, and then Doc Rivers realizes quickly, this ain't it. This ain't going to fly. Furkan won't work. And then it's real quickly back on the edge of the bench. Like, that's what I think it's going to be. He's going to give him a shot because, in theory, he likes the spacing and he likes the idea of Furkan. And then real quickly, it's, wow, this guy can't do a damn thing in the postseason. Let's go in another direction. But we keep going back to this topic. How many men are they really going to utilize in the playoffs? If you have your starting five, you have Dwight Howard, you have George Hill. That's 7 men. Matisse Thybulle is going to be a defensive player. That's 8. You have Shake Milton and Furkan Korkmaz, who I have not mentioned yet. That would be 10. You don't have 10 options. You have 8. I think that last spot will change depending on what the game's like and what the matchups are. I think it will change based off of that. But you got some guys that you've seen play for a long period of time this season, and they're not going to touch the floor. Alec Pags, my man. $10 donation. I answered you back, by the way, on your Instagram. I don't know if you saw that, but I finally got around to my Instagram DMs. I saw that you reached out, so I did respond to you. Thank you so much for the $10. Yeah, make sure you check out that Instagram DM. I did get back to you. The Flyers still suck. Cheers. Well, cheers to you too, my friend. Yeah, the Flyers blow. I mean, the Flyers just flat out blow. So disappointing. I remember when Ivan Provorov scored that goal last year in the playoffs against the Islanders, and it was so electric. I was screaming. I was going up and down. I was freaking out in my basement. Oh! going nuts like that, right? And now, how far did we fall off? To the point where, I mean, we're feeling down and out with how many games to go. What is it, a 56 game season? I don't even know how many games they're at, but they're in sixth place. They fell behind the New York Rangers. They're at 38 games. So what is that? Man, I'm not good at math, but 18, if I'm doing my math right off the top of my brain here, 18 games left. They have 41 points. Can they fall behind the Devils, who have 37 games and 32 points? Probably not. Here's the crazy part about this Flyers team. They are exactly tied. Same exact record. The same exact record as the New York Rangers. The goal differential. The Flyers are minus 24. Minus 24. The Rangers are plus 22. Dude. Yeah, that's terrible. I've never seen anything like this. Thank you so much, Pags. We got a $2 donation coming in from Giroux. Do you buy or sell this trade deadline, Brodes? I don't think you do anything for this season. And I kind of mentioned this before when I heard the podcast go down. Elliot Friedman, who covers the NHL nationally, and he does a great job with a lot of the Sportsnet stuff, and it was said on his 31 Thoughts podcast, he thinks it's possible that the Flyers still make a trade for a defenseman, but not so much for this year. It's not to change what this year is going to be about. It's more so to change the future of the franchise. So with the expansion draft, instead of protecting Sanheim, Myers, and Ivan Provorov, they might go out and make a splashy trade and go out and get a veteran player like an Ellis or like a player like that that will give you substance at the blue line position, but not to try and change the outcome of where you are today. More so where you protect four guys defensively, and then you have a serious D-man for the future years and for a couple of seasons down the road. Not so much now. So I think it'll be that. No one's moving these. It's a crazy year. It's crazy wild salary cap situation. You know, to think of a Jake Voracek contract, no one's picking that up. No GM, no owner, no team is going to be willing to spend that type of cash on guys. So you're kind of stuck. So you're not buying to fix the team now. If you were to buy, it's to fix the team for the next 2-3 years to get help at the blue line. You're not going to go get a rental or anything. But if the opportunity does come to sell, I don't think they're going to rule that out. Everything has to be on the table. They made it clear this stretch is going to be telling. Well, so far in this stretch, they got 1 point in game one. Don't tell me it was 2 points. They got 1 point in game one, and they got 0 in game two. That's everything you need to know about how it's going. Thank you, Giroux, so much for the $2. Amadeo says, every move you make, you change the roster for the future. Of course, shakeup is really possible. Well, I don't think Claude Giroux's going anywhere. I don't think anyone wants Jake Voracek's contract. I don't think anyone wants JVR's contract. If you're making a change, there's a few guys that would probably get people excited if you're the other team. It's a Travis Konechny. It's a player like that. Maybe it's a Scott Lawton, who's a UFA, who I know the Flyers like, and I think Scott Lawton likes this. His personality and his style of play fits Philadelphia, but who knows if they're going to be able to do it. The core, quote, the core, and look, you're not going to get rid of Sean Couturier. That would be asinine, in my opinion. He's the one of the core that you would keep. You're talking about a Selke winner. You can't just get rid of that. I don't know how you shake up the core with Voracek, Giroux, JVR, like that. I don't see how they go. I don't see how they go. Not because they don't want to move them. Another team's not going to want to take that on. Who do I think Seattle will realistically take? Before the whole waiver thing, I thought it would be Shane Gostisbehere, but it depends. There's so much that can happen because if they go make a move for a defenseman and they have to keep another defenseman to make it 4, that means there's a forward that's going to be available. You're going to have Voracek available. You're going to have JVR available. It comes down to, do they want to take that massive cap hit? That's what it comes down to. Are they willing, as a franchise, to say, hey, we'll pay for a little bit of Jake Voracek to give us some player that can give us 60, 70 points in a season? Here's one thing about the Giroux. I wonder if Giroux, the Flyers will be lucky. I agree. The Flyers will be lucky if Seattle gambles on these guys. I wonder, I don't think the answer is yes, to be clear. I don't think the answer is yes. I'm throwing it out there on the table. Do you think it's possible Giroux says, I want gone? I don't think so. I think he wants to prove everyone wrong. All these morons that think Giroux's a problem. I think he's determined to win a Stanley Cup here. I think he wants to do it here. I think his whole legacy has been here. I don't think he wants to just pack his bags and move. He just recently had a child. He loves the city. I mean, he's Philadelphia. He's Claude Giroux. He's been the captain forever now. He is the guy. He's got a ton of games logged in, almost 1,000 games. I don't see him getting moved on. But I wonder, does he think the same thing about needing a changeup of the core? I think the answer is no. I believe the answer is no. Is it possible, though, that Claude Giroux, there's a little bit in him that thinks, you know what, I'm okay with the move. I think it's time for the move. I think the move is warranted. It'll be interesting. I just don't think that's the case. Hope he retires as a Flyer. I do too. I do too. Someone asked about the Phillies game, how I thought about the Phillies. I'm trying to look for it here. Embiid, yeah, Embiid's been a monster against the Celtics. I mean, look at their big man situation. I actually had Celtics fans try and tell me that things would be different with Tristan Thompson. Excuse me? You think Tristan Thompson is the difference in being able to stop Joel Embiid? I mean, you do crack. That's what you do. You do crack. It's like the Stephen A. Smith thing. Well, that was with Lamar Odom, right? When he was like, and that was against Lamar Odom, who does crack, whatever the hell the line was. Always a phenomenal. Stephen A. had a good rant yesterday. I'm not a big first take guy at all, but I just saw the clip flying around because they had that ESPN list that had Devin Booker behind Ben Simmons and LaMelo Ball at like third when it came to top stars under the age of 25. And he's saying that everyone needs to get drug tested who works for ESPN, who's a part of this list. It was actually pretty good. It was actually pretty good. I do miss Stephen A. on the radio. There's a different side of him when he does a first take scripted bullshit show. But when he did the radio, I actually thoroughly enjoyed Stephen A's radio show. But unfortunately, that's not there anymore. I think other teams that are looking for a shakeup, Calgary, Dallas. Yeah, Calgary's definitely going to need a shakeup. I know what everybody's thinking. I'll let you think it in your head. I don't know what the case is going to be. I don't know if that does happen, but the problem with Giroux is yes, you need a shakeup if you're Calgary. Do you think the answer is Jake Voracek, though? Because I would say no. If I'm Calgary, I'm thinking, all right, what can I do to shake things up? Let me bring in Jake Voracek on that contract with that many years left. I don't know if that tickles my fancy as much. Oh, the line was, he signed Lamar Odom, who was on crack. That's what it was. Yep, that's always a classic. That's always an absolute classic. That's so funny. Brodes, do you watch any sports shows? Not really too much, to be honest with you. Not really too much. What are my prediction for Johnny G for Jake Voracek? Let's make it happen. I'm not going to tell you no. I just don't think it's going to happen. My prediction for the Phillies. Oh, that's a perfect question. Let me tell you in one moment after I take this sip of coffee. All I'm saying is you have Aaron Nola on the mound and an opportunity against your biggest rival to win a series. I'll tell you my full thoughts on leading off with Brodes, which airs today at 3 o'clock. We will be live. Just a reminder, the game is at 4 o'clock. We will be live at 3 o'clock on YouTube, Sports Talk with Brodes, Twitch/Sports Talk with Brodes, Twitch.tv/Sports Talk with Brodes, and my and my Twitter at Brodes81. 3 o'clock, leading off with Brodes. We will preview the Phillies game. We will talk about the storylines. It's a Phillies pregame show, leading off with Brodes, 3 o'clock today. And I just mentioned Twitter, so I might as well tell you now as well. I am starting a new Twitter on top of my personal at Brodes81, at Brodes Media. So it will be more of a Brodes Media account, not my personal account. We're going to have some updates, information. We'll have some highlight stuff. We'll throw all sorts of teasers out there. We have an awesome new thing we're doing after every Philly series called Shelfie Showdown, which is Shelfie, who does all the MLB The Show content. He breaks down the Phillies every single series and preview the next series. So that's also going to be displayed on the Brodes media account. You will not want to miss it. There's a new giveaway, too. It's Hump Day giveaway. And Brodes Media's Twitter account is going to be involved. So make sure you go toss that a follow. After this is over, in just a couple of moments, we will post out the new giveaway. So you got to run on over, get your Twitter fingers going. That's what the kids say these days. The kids as if, Drake's the kid, but he says that, Twitter fingers. Yeah. Trigger. Yeah. Turn into Twitter fingers. Sounds just like Drake. Make sure you do that. So you'll find more of my predictions, my thoughts, my excitement for the game, all that today at 3 o'clock is my point. It's a perfect tease, Mikey Davis. It's like you kind of read my mind, my friend. It's like you kind of read my mind. So with that being said, that's kind of where we are today to end the show. My coffee is basically over, so that's kind of a sign. Kind of a sign of, hey, it might be time to end the show here. This is an interesting thought. Here we go. I don't think Brad Stevens is a bad coach. Danny Ainge just needs to address the lack of center. Small ball's not working for Boston. It's definitely not working for Boston. But isn't this something that we've talked about in years past where people put too much blame on the coach when things go wrong? It is possible that the coach isn't doing his best job, but it's hard to do your best job when the answers aren't there. All right. And we went through this for 5 seasons of screaming for Brett Brown's firing. At the end of the Brett Brown tenure, it was time for the firing of Brett Brown. But after every season, it was irrational before the last season where it made a lot of sense. When you have a coach that goes to the final buzzer of game 7 on the road against the team that ends up winning the damn thing, and you lose on that type of shot, the guy deserves to come back and get another chance. You don't fire that coach. He gets another chance. I've been stressing it. These coaches have a role. These coaches do impact the game, but they have a ceiling on where that caps out. If you don't have the talent, if you don't have the superstar, you're not going to win anyway. You need that first. So everyone was bitching and complaining. And guess what? Embiid wasn't a superstar 2 years ago against Toronto. He is now. This isn't what you got out of Joel Embiid 2 years ago. And it's because he worked on his game. He applied to his offseason. He became a better player. He learned. He lost all of it. You lost some heartbreaking games. You become a better player because of that. All that. What you're saying, Mr. 89, is everything I've been trying to say over the last 5 years, just screaming that the coach needed to be fired after every regular season loss. You didn't have the best roster. You didn't have the perfect mix. You needed to change the pieces. Brad Stevens isn't a bad coach. It's like Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse goes from a genius head coach to one of the worst coaches in the league, and the Raptors are ready to blow it up. You have Brad Stevens, who goes from the next Greg Popovich to this guy can't control a locker room, and Kyrie Irving's a disaster, and that's a problem with Brad Stevens and the way that he coaches. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe Brad Stevens is a good coach, but you need all the other pieces to work at the right rate first, and then Brad Stevens is that extra bonus on top of it. Yes, you need the other things first. You need the right roster first. You need the superstar first, and then you need the coach. That's how it works. So, yes, the coach is going to look bad if the other pieces aren't in play. The Celtics don't have that superstar. The roster is not perfectly constructed, and then you look bad as a coach. Nick Nurse, you don't have the superstar. The team isn't properly constructed. Now the coach looks like a moron. It's not rocket science to see how the snowball effect goes down. That's a good way to end it, though. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me today on Coffee with Brodes. Be aware and ready for the 3 o'clock action today for leading off with Brodes, entering the Phillies game. First pitch, 4:05. Can't wait. Thank you, guys. Don't forget the giveaway.